I stared at my phone, thumb hovering over the red end call button, as my mother's words hung in the air like poison. We need Emma's room ready by next month, darling. I'm sure you understand. My name is Sophia, and I just got evicted from my childhood home by a woman who traded me in for a newer model 18 years ago. You want me to move out? Just like that? The words scraped against my throat. Through the phone, I heard the distinct clink of ice in what was undoubtedly her afternoon gin and tonic. Don't be dramatic, sweetheart. Emma needs the space for her college preparations. Henry and I have discussed it, and we feel it's best for everyone. Her voice carried that familiar silk-wrapped steel tone, the one that brooked no argument while pretending to care. I pressed my forehead against the cool glass of my bedroom window. Correction, Emma's future bedroom window. Below, the gardener trimmed our perfect roses into even more perfect shapes, just like Mother liked everything. Perfect and controlled. Where exactly am I supposed to go? Oh, you're resourceful, darling. Perhaps your father could help? Or that nice young man you're seeing. Ben, isn't it? The casual way she suggested I lean on Dad, the parent she'd tried to poison me against for years, made my stomach turn. Right. Because dumping your first kid for your do-over family is totally normal parenting. Sophia, her voice sharpened, that's entirely unfair. We've given you everything. I laughed, the sound brittle enough to crack. Everything except a mother who gives a damn. I won't dignify that with a response. You have 30 days. Henry's lawyer will send over the formal notice. The line went dead before I could reply. My reflection stared back at me from the window. Dark hair, olive skin, nothing like Emma's golden perfection that matched our mother's Society magazine looks. The roses below blurred as tears threatened, but I blinked them back. Crying was for people who still believed their mothers loved them. My phone buzzed again. For a moment, hope fluttered. Maybe she'd realised what she'd done, maybe she'd apologise. But no, it was just Ben. Hey, beautiful. Dinner tonight. I typed back, can't. Family emergency. Call you later. The response came instantly. Everything okay? No. Nothing was okay. My mother was replacing me with her perfect daughter, my stepfather was formally evicting me, and my half-sister probably had no idea she was the weapon being used to gut me. It's fine, I replied instead. Just need some time. I looked around my room. My space for 24 years. The walls still held traces of pink from when I was 12, and believed my mother's promises that we'd always be close. The bookshelf groaned with volumes I'd collected, each one a fortress against lonely nights when she was too busy with Emma's recitals or Henry's business dinners. My phone buzzed one final time. A text from Emma. OMG, sis! Can't wait to make your old room into my study space. Mom says you're moving on to bigger things. I stared at those cheerful exclamation marks until they burned into my retinas. Sweet, oblivious Emma, who had no idea she was the golden child in our mother's game of favourites. Fine. They wanted me gone? I'd go. But first, I had some planning to do. Because the thing about being the forgotten child is that no one expects you to fight back. They forget that the quiet ones, the overlooked ones, the ones pushed aside, we're the ones who learn to watch, wait, and strike when it hurts most. I opened my laptop and started making lists. Mother always said I was resourceful. Time to prove her right. The movers hadn't even arrived yet when Henry's silver Bentley pulled into the driveway. I watched from my window as he straightened his tie, practiced his stern expression in the side mirror, and marched toward the front door like a man about to close a hostile takeover. 3 sharp knocks echoed through the house. I didn't move. Sophia, his voice carried upstairs, we need to discuss the terms of your departure. I kept packing, each book another brick in the wall I was building between myself and this house. The heavy footsteps on the stairs told me Henry wasn't accepting my silence as an answer. Your mother is very upset about your conversation yesterday. He appeared in my doorway, all Brooks Brothers suit and manufactured concern. She's had to increase her anxiety medication. Funny how that works, I said, wrapping my grandmother's crystal vase in newspaper. She kicks me out, but she's the victim. Henry's jaw tightened. We're offering you 3 months' rent at any apartment of your choosing. A generous severance package, if you will. I barked out a laugh. Severance package? I'm your stepdaughter, not an employee you're downsizing. Don't be difficult. He pulled out his phone, probably to check the stock market or his golf schedule. The lawyer will be here at noon with the paperwork. Sign it, take the money, and we can all move forward amicably. Does Emma know you're paying me to disappear? His finger paused mid-scroll. Leave Emma out of this. She's very excited about university and doesn't need any complications. Complications? Is that what I am now? A car door slammed outside. Through the window, I watched my mother emerge from her Mercedes, shopping bags hanging from both arms. Probably more decorations for Emma's room to be. Your mother and I have provided for you well beyond what was required, Henry said, his voice taking on that boardroom edge. It's time for you to stand on your own feet. Like you stood on yours? Or did marrying my mother's trust fund help with that? The slap of his hand against my doorframe made me flinch. You will not speak to me that way in my house. Don't worry, I said, meeting his gaze. Soon it'll be all yours again. Well, yours and your real family's. He opened his mouth to respond, but Mother's voice floated up from below. Henry? Darling? The interior designer is here to discuss Emma's new study nook. Study nook. Of course, because my entire room wasn't enough. We're done here, Henry said, straightening his jacket. Noon! Don't be late! After he left, I pulled out my phone and called the one person who'd never traded me in for a better model. Dad? Remember when you said I could always come home? My voice cracked. I think it's time. Already clearing out the guest room, kiddo. No hesitation, no conditions, just love. Want me to bring the truck? Please. I swallowed hard. And, Dad, there's something else. I found some interesting documents in Henry's home office last night about his company's offshore accounts. The silence on the other end stretched for 3 heartbeats. Sophia, I know what you're going to say. But they made copies of my house key without asking. The office was unlocked, and it's amazing what people leave lying around when they think you're too unimportant to notice anything. More silence. Then, we'll talk when I get there. 1 hour. I hung up and went back to packing, but this time I was smiling. Henry wasn't the only one who knew how to play corporate games. The flash drive in my pocket contained enough evidence to make his next board meeting very interesting. My phone buzzed with a text from Emma. Mum's showing me the most amazing wallpaper options. Can't wait for you to see how I transform your old room. Miss you already. I stared at those hearts, those exclamation points. Sweet, innocent Emma. Maybe someday she'd understand why her big sister had to burn it all down. But for now I had a lawyer to meet, a father to hug, and a stepfather to destroy. Time to show them exactly what kind of complication I could be. The Instagram notification hit like a slap. There, on my mother's perfectly curated feed, was a photo of our dining room transformed into something out of Architectural Digest. Crystal chandeliers dripped from the ceiling, white roses spilled across tables, and a banner proclaimed, "Welcome to University, Emma," in gold script. My hands shook as I scrolled through the album. Every society matron in town posed with their champagne flutes. Henry beamed beside Emma, who wore the pearl necklace that had been promised to me on my own graduation, before Mother decided it suited Emma's colouring better. You okay? Dad asked from his workshop doorway. I'd been living in his modest craftsman house for 2 weeks, sleeping in a room that smelled of sawdust and honesty. They threw her a party. My voice sounded distant even to myself. A surprise celebration. In the house I just got kicked out of. Dad set down his sanding block. Want me to make us some coffee? I want to make them hurt. The words hung between us, sharp and dangerous. Dad crossed the room and gently took my phone. The documents you found, he said quietly. How bad are they? Bad enough to trigger an SEC investigation. I met his eyes. Bad enough to make the society pages for all the wrong reasons. The doorbell rang before he could respond. Through the front window I saw Ben's familiar silhouette. I'll give you two some space, Dad said, heading back to his workshop. Just remember who you are, Sophia. Revenge might feel good, but it changes people. Ben didn't wait for me to explain when I opened the door. Your mother just called me. My stomach dropped. What? She invited me to dinner, said she wants to discuss your future and make things right. He ran a hand through his hair. I told her I'd think about it. You're not actually considering it. Maybe we should hear her out. She seemed genuinely manipulative, I cut in. The word you're looking for is manipulative. My phone buzzed. Emma again. The party was amazing. Mom says she tried to reach you, but your number's not working. Everyone missed you. I showed Ben the message, then pulled up Mother's Instagram. His jaw tightened as he swiped through the photos. Okay, he said finally. That's pretty cold. You know what's colder? This. I pulled out my laptop and opened the files I'd copied from Henry's office. Look at these transfer dates. Look at these account numbers. Every time Henry claimed the company was too stretched to give employees raises, he was funneling millions offshore. Ben's eyes widened as he scrolled. Sophia, this is justice. I took the laptop back. They want to play happy families? Fine. Let's see how happy they are when the FBI starts asking questions. Think about Emma, he said softly. She's innocent in all this. Emma gets everything. The house, the pearls, the perfect party. She'll survive having her college funds slightly dented by Daddy's legal fees. My phone rang. Mother's name flashed on the screen. Sophia, darling, she purred when I answered. I've been thinking, perhaps we could have lunch at the club tomorrow, just us girls. Sorry, I'm busy getting evidence of Henry's fraud to the right authorities. The silence that followed was worth every second of the past 2 weeks' pain. What did you say? Her voice had lost its silk. Check your email in about an hour. I sent copies to the board members too. Oh, and Mother? Those pearls you gave Emma? They look fake in the photos. I hung up before she could respond. Ben stared at me like he wasn't sure whether to be impressed or terrified. You really sent it to the board? Not yet. I opened my email. But I will. Unless what? I smiled, thinking of all those society matrons with their champagne flutes, of Emma's perfect party, of Henry's smug face. Unless they're willing to negotiate terms that don't involve treating me like a disposable inconvenience. My phone exploded with notifications. Mother, Henry, even Emma. I silenced them all and turned to Ben. Want to help me draft an email that'll make Henry's blood pressure match his offshore account numbers? 3 days after my threat, Henry's lawyer showed up at Dad's front door with a settlement offer. I watched from the kitchen as Dad signed for the envelope, his carpenter's hands steady against the crisp legal paper. You don't have to open it, he said, placing the envelope on the counter between us like a loaded gun. I traced the embossed law firm logo. Did you know Mother called the shop yesterday? His shoulders tensed. What did she want? To remind you about the non-disclosure agreement from the divorce. Said it might be relevant to our current situation. Dad's laugh was bitter coffee and old wounds. 20 years later and she's still trying to control the narrative. I opened the envelope. The numbers made my eyes widen. 7 figures, plus conditions. Full confidentiality. No contact with Emma. A formal statement absolving Henry of any wrongdoing. They're scared, I said, pushing the papers away. This is panic money. It's life-changing money, Dad corrected quietly. Enough to start your own business. Buy a house, build something real. My phone buzzed. Ben's text read, Henry just offered me a job. Executive track, 6 figures. Says he's impressed with my potential. The kitchen suddenly felt too small, too warm. I showed Dad the message. He's trying to buy Ben too, I said. Probably thinks he can drive a wedge between us. Or maybe he's trying to make amends in his own way. By bribing my fiancé instead of apologizing to me. Dad started to respond when another text came through, from Emma this time. But instead of her usual stream of hearts and exclamation points, it was just a photo. My old room, completely gutted. The walls I'd painted myself stripped bare, the window seat where I'd read books for 18 years ripped out. Renovation started today, Emma wrote. Mum says we're erasing all the negative energy. Something snapped inside me. I grabbed my keys. Sophia, Dad called after me. Where are you going? To create some negative energy. I was halfway to the car when Ben's truck pulled into the driveway. He jumped out, waving a folder. You need to see this, he said. I did some digging after Henry's offer. Inside the folder were photos. Henry at restaurants with women who weren't my mother, bank statements showing regular payments to addresses I didn't recognize, and finally, a birth certificate. A child. A boy. 3 years old. There's more. Ben said softly. The offshore accounts, they're not just for tax evasion. He's been building trust funds for all his secret families. The world tilted sideways. Does Mother know? Based on these lawyer bills, Ben pointed to a statement, she's known for at least a year. Probably why she's so desperate to maintain their social status. I thought of Emma's party photos, Mother's frozen smile, the desperate way they were trying to project perfect family happiness. My phone rang. Henry's name flashed on the screen. Have you considered our offer? He asked without preamble. I'm considering a lot of things, I replied, like how many half-siblings Emma doesn't know about. The silence crackled with static and fear. My office. 1 hour, he said finally. We need to talk. No. I surprised myself with how calm I felt. The country club, public space, bring Mother, and Emma. Sophia, 1 hour? Or the board gets everything, including the birth certificate. I hung up and looked at Ben and Dad, these two men who'd never once made me feel like I needed to earn their love. You don't have to do this, Ben said. Actually, I do. I picked up Henry's settlement offer and tore it in half. They wanted to erase me? Fine. But they don't get to decide how this story ends. Dad touched my shoulder. Just remember, revenge might feel like justice, but it can poison everything it touches. Don't worry, I said, watching the torn papers flutter. This isn't about revenge anymore. It's about truth. And Emma deserves to know exactly what kind of family she's really part of. The country club dining room hummed with hushed conversations and crystal chimes. I sat alone at a corner table watching Henry and Mother sweep in through the main entrance, their faces fixed in practiced smiles. No Emma. Darling, Mother air-kissed my cheek, her perfume a suffocating cloud of Chanel. You're looking comfortable. I touched the simple silver pendant Dad had made me, a stark contrast to her diamonds. Where's Emma? At tennis practice, Henry said smoothly, signaling for the waiter. This discussion doesn't concern her. Everything concerns her now. I pulled out my phone, showing them the birth certificate, especially her new baby brother, though I suppose half-brother is more accurate. Mother's hand trembled as she lifted her water glass. Henry's face remained impassive, but a muscle twitched in his jaw. How much? He asked. You still think this is about money? Everything is about money, Sophia. Mother's voice carried that familiar edge of disdain. Don't pretend you're above it. The waiter approached. Henry ordered scotch. Mother requested a gin martini. I asked for coffee black, Dad's drink of choice when making tough decisions. You're right, I said after the waiter left. It is about money. It's about the money you're stealing from your employees' pensions to fund your secret families. It's about the money you used to buy Mother's silence. It's about Emma's trust fund, built on fraud and lies. You ungrateful little... Mother started, but Henry cut her off with a sharp gesture. What do you want? He asked. I pulled out a folder, identical to the one containing their secrets. Sign the company over to the employees. Set up a proper pension fund. Resign from the board. Henry's laugh was ugly. You're delusional. No, I'm thorough. I opened the folder, revealing blank papers. The real documents are with my lawyer. You have 24 hours to decide. And Emma? Mother's voice cracked slightly. You'd destroy her future too. Her college fund. Like you destroyed mine? The words tasted like acid. Besides, I'm sure one of Henry's other families can help out. How many are there now? 3? 4? The drinks arrived. Henry downed his scotch in one gulp. I'll destroy you, he said quietly. Every job application, every loan, every opportunity, I'll poison them all. Try it. I stood, leaving the folder on the table. Oh, and check your phone. Emma's tennis practice ended an hour ago. She's probably seen my text by now. Mother's face went ash white. What text? Just some family photos. The kind Henry takes on his business trips to visit his other kids. The explosion came exactly as I'd predicted. Mother's martini crashed to the floor. Henry lunged for his phone. Heads turned throughout the dining room, their precious social circle witnessing the perfect facade crumble. You bitch, Mother hissed, grabbing my arm. After everything we've given you... Given me? I yanked free. You gave me away, the moment Emma was born. At least now she knows she's not the only replacement child. My phone buzzed. Emma. Is it true? Please tell me it's not true. Another message followed. I'm at Dad's workshop. Please come. Dad's workshop, not their mansion, not her perfect room with its fresh paint covering my memories. 24 hours, I reminded them, turning to leave. Oh, and Mother, those anxiety pills you're reaching for? They expired last year. Might want to get a refill. Something tells me you'll need them. Outside, Ben waited in his truck. How'd it go? Emma's at Dad's. My hands were shaking now that no one could see. She knows. You okay? I watched through the window as Henry and Mother's argument spilled into the parking lot, their voices carrying across manicured lawns. I thought revenge would feel better than this, I admitted. Ben squeezed my hand. Maybe because it's not about revenge anymore. He was right. This wasn't about hurting them. It was about saving Emma from years of perfectly packaged lies. About breaking cycles of manipulation and secrets. Take me to Dad's, I said. My sister needs me. The real kind of need, not the manufactured kind Mother had weaponized all these years. Emma deserved better than their beautiful, poisonous world. And maybe, just maybe, we both deserved a chance at real family. Emma sat cross-legged on Dad's workshop floor, surrounded by sawdust and the ghosts of better days. Her tennis whites were smudged with dirt, her perfect ponytail coming undone, a mirror image of my own unraveling. Did you know? She asked, her voice small. About the other kids? Not until recently. I settled beside her, keeping distance between us. About the same time I found out about the fraud. The what? Her head snapped up. Before I could answer, Ben burst through the door. Sophia, turn on the news, now. Dad's ancient workshop TV crackled to life. Henry's face filled the screen, standing at a podium outside his corporate headquarters. Mother hovered behind him, her smile stretched too tight. Allegations are completely unfounded, Henry was saying. These attacks on my family come from a disturbed individual seeking revenge. My stepdaughter Sophia Martinez has been struggling with mental health issues. The floor seemed to tilt beneath me. Emma grabbed my arm. He's lying, she whispered. Right? Regret that her delusions have affected innocent parties, Henry continued. We're working with authorities to address these false claims and get her the help she needs. My phone exploded with notifications. LinkedIn connections disappearing, email alerts about account suspensions, text messages from unknown numbers calling me crazy, unstable, a liar. They're burning you, Ben said quietly. Professional reputation, social media, everything. Dad emerged from his office, face grim. The lawyer called. Henry's team is filing a temporary restraining order. They're claiming you're a danger to Emma. What? Emma shot to her feet. No, I won't let them. You don't have a choice, I cut in. You're still a minor. They're your legal guardians. But the photos, the birth certificate. Fabricated by an unstable mind, Henry's voice continued from the TV. We only hope Sophia gets the treatment she needs. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. Everything I'd built, every piece of evidence, every careful plan, destroyed by 3 minutes of prime-time character assassination. I have to go, Emma said suddenly, checking her phone. Mom's threatening to call the police if I don't come home. Emma, I believe you, she said fiercely. But I need time. To think. To figure out. She left, taking with her my last chance at justice. Or maybe redemption. I wasn't sure anymore. Ben switched off the TV. We'll fight this. I'll call in favors, get testimonies. From who? My laugh sounded hollow. The employees too scared to lose their jobs? The society friends who just watched Mother cry crocodile tears on camera? The half-siblings who don't even know I exist? Then we'll leave, he said. Start fresh somewhere else. They'll follow. Henry won't stop until he's destroyed everything I touch. I pulled away from his reaching hand. Maybe you should distance yourself too. Save your career while you can. Sophia. Dad's voice carried the weight of years watching me fight impossible battles. Don't push away the people who love you. That's what they want. My phone buzzed again. A text from Mother. Come home, darling. We'll get you the best doctors. Make this all go away. Another from Henry. Last chance. Sign the retraction papers. Or the restraining order includes your father's business. The final one from Emma. They're sending me to Europe early. Gap year program. I'm sorry. I'll find a way to contact you when I can. Just like that, they'd taken everything. My reputation, my sister, my future. Even my past was being rewritten, turned into a cautionary tale of mental instability and family tragedy. I need air, I managed, heading for the door. Where are you going? Ben called after me. To do what crazy people do best. I grabbed my car keys. Something stupid. Dad stepped forward. Sophia. Don't worry. I forced a smile that felt like breaking glass. I'm not going to hurt anyone. That's their job. I left before they could stop me, their voices fading behind the sound of my own heartbeat. Henry wanted crazy. Fine. Time to show him what rock bottom really looked like. Because the thing about having nothing left to lose, it makes you really, really dangerous. 3 years passed like a slow-motion car crash. I rebuilt my life piece by piece, starting with a small consulting firm that specialized in corporate whistleblower cases. Karma has a way of paying dividends. The call came on a Tuesday. Mother's number, but not her usual time for monthly guilt trips. Henry's gone. Her voice cracked. He took everything. I watched rain streak down my office window, 30 stories above the city where I'd once felt so small. Define everything. The accounts are frozen. The house is in foreclosure. Emma's trust fund. She broke off, choking back what might have been a sob. Please, Sophia, I need you. Like I needed you. I deserve that. But there's something else, something you should see. An hour later, I stood in my childhood home's foyer, where crystal chandeliers had been replaced by dust-covered wires. Mother sat in her favourite armchair, but the silk was worn, the stuffing showing through like exposed bones. Here, she handed me a stack of papers with trembling hands. Henry's real records, all of them. I scanned the documents, my breath catching. These aren't copies. Originals. From his private safe. She laughed bitterly. He didn't think I knew the combination, didn't think I'd notice him moving money for months, didn't think I'd figure out about the woman in Singapore. Another family. A whole new life. Younger wife, clean slate. She gestured around the empty room. This was just the dress rehearsal. My phone buzzed. Ben checking in. I ignored it. Why show me this now? Because you were right. Mother stood, swaying slightly. About everything. The fraud, the lies, the way we treated you. I thought I was protecting our family's future. Instead, I helped him destroy it. And Emma? In Paris, refusing my calls. Her smile was a broken thing. She's more like you than I ever realized. I set the papers down. What do you want from me? Help me destroy him. She stepped closer, desperation rolling off her in waves. You know how. You've built a whole career on it. We can take everything just like he took from us. Us? The word tasted like acid. There is no us. You made sure of that when you branded me mentally unstable on national television. I was wrong. I was weak. I was exactly who you've always been. I moved toward the door. Someone who only reaches out when they need something. Sophia, please. She grabbed my arm. I'm your mother. No. I pulled free. You're Henry's victim, just like I was. Just like Emma. The difference is I stopped being a victim 3 years ago. What are you going to do with the documents? I picked up the papers again, feeling their weight. Real evidence, enough to bury Henry 10 times over. I'm going to do my job. File them through proper channels. Let the SEC and FBI handle it. I met her eyes. Legally, ethically. The way Dad taught me. That could take years. Yes, and you'll have to find your own way through it. Without using me as your revenge weapon. She sank back into her chair, suddenly looking every bit her age. I really did love you, you know. In my way. I know. That's what made it worse. I left her there, surrounded by the ruins of her perfect life. Outside, Ben waited in his truck, just like always. You okay? He asked as I slid in. Call Emma, I said instead of answering. Tell her to check her email in an hour. She deserves to know what's coming. And your mother? I watched the mansion shrink in the side mirror, remembering the girl who once thought love meant proving yourself worthy of it. Some people save themselves, I said finally. Others just look for new saviors. She needs to figure out which one she is. Ben squeezed my hand as we pulled away. Behind us, Mother's silhouette appeared in the window, a lonely figure in an empty house. I didn't look back again. Some chains you break, others you simply let rust away on their own. The headlines splashed across my desk like fallen dominoes. Tech mogul Henry Bradford indicted. Offshore accounts exposed. Corporate fraud ring uncovered. Each one a brick in the wall between past and present. I closed the newspaper as Emma walked into my office, her heels clicking against hardwood. Paris had changed her. Sharper edges, darker eyes, less glitter. "They're selling the house," she said, dropping into the chair across from me. "Mother's moving into some condo downtown. How is she?" "Surviving. Teaching tennis to society wives." Emma's laugh held no humour. "Apparently rock bottom has a dress code." I pushed a folder across my desk. "Henry's sentencing is next week. The prosecutor wants to know if you'll testify." "Will you?" "No need. The evidence speaks for itself." Emma traced the folder's edge, her perfectly manicured nail catching on a dog-eared corner. "I found the others. Henry's other families. 3 boys, 2 girls. All of us replaceable parts in his perfect life machine." "Emma, did you know I used to hate you?" She met my eyes. "For being so strong. For walking away. For seeing through them when I couldn't." The silence stretched between us like old scar tissue. "I have something for you," she said finally, pulling an envelope from her bag. "From Mother." My hand froze halfway across the desk. It's not what you think." Emma pressed the envelope into my palm. "Just read it, please." Inside was a single photograph. Me at 6 years old, sitting in Dad's workshop, covered in sawdust, and smiling. On the back, in Mother's elegant script, "The last time I saw you truly happy. Before I taught you that love had to be earned." "She's in therapy now," Emma said quietly. "Real therapy, not the kind with prescription pads and country club recommendations. Good for her." "That's it? That's all you have to say?" I tucked the photo into my desk drawer. "What do you want me to say? That I forgive her? That one moment of self-awareness erases 20 years of conditional love?" "No." Emma stood, smoothing her designer dress. "I want you to say you'll have dinner with me next week. Just us. No Mother, no Henry, no perfect family pretense." "Why?" "Because you're my sister, and I'm done letting other people define what that means." My phone buzzed. Ben, reminding me about dinner with Dad. Friday nights in his workshop, takeout containers balanced on sawhorses, planning our wedding between his woodworking projects. Simple. Real. "Okay," I said. "Dinner. But somewhere new. No old haunts." Emma smiled. A real smile, not the society page version. "I know a place. Very unmother approved." After she left, I opened my laptop to finish the day's work. Another whistleblower case waited in my inbox, another family's secrets ready to explode. But these weren't my battles anymore. These weren't my ghosts. Dad's latest creation sat on my desk, a small wooden box with intricate inlays. Inside, he'd carved words into the lid. "Some things break to build stronger things." I placed Mother's photo inside, next to the old house key I never returned. Not everything needed to be fixed. Not every broken thing needed to be rebuilt. Sometimes the cracks themselves became the story, proof that you survived, that you chose your own way of healing. My office door opened again. Ben, early for our dinner with Dad. "Ready to go?" he asked. I looked around my office, at the headlines, the case files, the wooden box holding the remnants of my old life. Through the window, I could just see the spire of my mother's new condo building, a shadow against the setting sun. "Yeah," I said, standing. "I'm ready." Some people spend their whole lives trying to fix broken families. Others learn to build new ones from scratch. The trick is knowing the difference and having the courage to choose your own blueprint. I turned off the lights and closed the door, leaving the ghosts behind in the darkness where they belonged.